Hey gang, today we are taking a look at Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Cyberverse class, or Cyberverse Commander class, Shockwave and Starscream. Now Shockwave is the newer figure of the two. Starscream is just a repaint of the original Commander class Starscream figure. Now, according to the directions, he is a Sabotage specialist. Not with that color scheme, he ain't sabotaging anything. Actually, the Starscream figure I find interesting because he looks more like a Dirge than a Starscream character. I mean, his face is black with red eyes and gold highlights, and the rest of him is maroon, gray, and gold. I actually like this color scheme. I think this is an interesting color scheme, and it's a little more dynamic than his deluxe class figure, but still it is kind of weird. I personally call this guy Thrust, honestly. I think this works much better as a Thrust homage than a Starscream. And his weapon here is the Thunder Nipple Twister. Yep, Thunder Nipple Twister. The weapon is just one of the push firings. You just push it and it launches and twists robo nipples. So, putting him off to the side, let's take a look at Shockwave. Now, Shockwave comes with his Hyper Flatulence Cannon, and the weapon is kind of weird because it's almost as tall as he is. In fact, he can't even put it down straight without lifting himself off the ground. And you fire it by pushing a section of the cannon forward, and that launches maybe 6 inches at the most. Overall, though, the robot mode looks good. I like the look of the robot mode. But there are a few issues with him. As you just saw, Shockwave has some real trouble standing up. And that's because of the part of the transformation for his feet. They fold forward. Well, that's fine. But the plastic that's around the hinges kind of prevent the feet from folding up all the way in either mode. You see, just that little bit of clearance, or little gap, is enough to cause him to fall backwards. And plus, it doesn't help that he's top-heavy. That really doesn't help at all. And that's just from the design. There's really nothing I could do about that. Now, there are a few other weird oddities with this guy. Well, before we get into that, let's get into the posability. Head does not move. Arm is on a swivel at the shoulder, then a ball joint just to the side of that, and a ball joint in the elbow for the gun. Same story on the other side, swivel with a ball joint, and then there's a ball joint at the elbow. Hips, ball joint, knees, this kind of swivel hinge. There's a hinge and then a swivel right underneath, no foot articulation. Now, for his legs, let me turn it around. It's not going to show up on camera because it's too small, but there is a small piece of plastic sticking off the disc that makes up this swivel. And that's supposed to lock in the leg for, I guess, the transformation, but it doesn't really work that way. You see, you can't turn it all that much until you pop it off of the piece of plastic that's in there. So you got to push it to turn it. It can turn, but it's designed to be resistant. It's very weird. It is odd. It is a very odd design choice. I'm not sure why it's there. I think it has to do with the transformation. Overall, though, robot mode for Shockwave looks very good and is very eerily similar to his Voyager class figure. Just very, very similar. So here's the Voyager class figure up against the Cyberverse. And I find it very amusing that the Cyberverse figure has glossy paint all over him for the purple, yet the Voyager class does not. And I find it equally odd that it looks like there's more detailing on the Cyberverse class figure than the Voyager. The transformation for Little Thrust here is exactly the same as the original Cyberverse figure. Take the arms, straighten them out, lift them up and over the head, and put them together, like that. Though it does appear as the original connector. There's supposed to be another connector back there, but I think it broke. The transformation for Thrust is the exact same transformation as Commander Cyberverse Starscream. Combine the arms above the robot's head, like that. Then take the wings, fold them straight down. Take the legs and fold them up and peg them into the area just behind the butt of the figure. Just get that up there. Fold the main engine down, fold the wings down, and fold up the canopy into the rest of the figure. And there we go. And I gotta say, I think this jet mode looks better than the original Starscream figures. I really like the jet mode, specifically the canopy and the front fuselage part of the figure. And I think I forgot to fold the... Yes, I did. You are supposed to fold Starscream's head up. Whoops, completely forgot about that. Sorry, but easily remedied. But as I was saying, I like the jet mode here, and the fact that he has, or the figure has, a completely different look from the original Cyberverse figure makes me think that really this guy should be named differently, which is why I call him Thrust, as opposed to Starscream. Really like the look of it. It's unique, it looks fast, the segmenting on the wings is cool. It's just a very, very cool vehicle mode. Shockwave's transformation is eerily similar to Voyager-class Shockwaves. To start, we'll take the treads and fold them up along his back. Take the right arm, fold that straight flat on his back, and then there is a peg on the inside of the forearm, and that will peg into this peg hole right behind his butt, or right above his butt. Then take the legs and open them up, spread them. Take the front of the chest, and that will fold forward and come down to the front of the figure. Open up the rest of the chest area by flipping that open. Take the head and fold the head up into the lower abdomen, and then take the other arm, and fold that up into the head/chest cavity. And that will allow you to peg the cannon right into a peg hole in his crotch. Now you can leave these purple flaps open, or you could just close them back up. Either way, it doesn't matter. For the legs, you kind of want to... They really don't peg in anywhere, even though it looks like they should, but they just don't. So what you want to do is fold the feet forward to expose the wheels, and then kind of just fiddle with it until you could get the knees bent and then the swivel turned just enough so that it looks like you've got a working vehicle mode. And there is a tab on the upper thigh that kind of slides into place underneath the hip, but it just kind of rests there. It doesn't actually peg in. And you're supposed to fold the treads down. However, you can only fold it so far before it hits the plastic from this arm. So just fold it down as far as you can and then flip up the rear wings like that. And here we have his tank mode. Very loose, little tank mode. I have to admit, I really don't care for the look of this tank mode. I just don't care for it. Yes, it is more of a cohesive unit than the Voyager class figure, but I don't like it. There's something about it I just don't like, and I can't figure out what it is. Is it the fact that it's just badly proportioned? It's way too long? It lacks the interesting nature of the Voyager class figure's tank mode. And speaking of the Voyager class, here we go. Comparatively, the Voyager class figure is just much better. Now, I do like the fact that you don't have a big plastic piece of spinning gear sticking up at the top, but it's just not as interesting as this tank mode. Now, this tank mode, It is a little silly, I'm not going to lie, but it is definitely more interesting than what you get in the Cyberverse class figure. Plus, the Cyberverse class figure doesn't really hold together all that well. I mean, you could maybe get him to go like, yeah, wee! Pop a wheelie on his treads or something, but yeah, as comparison, I would get the Voyager class figure. Overall, these two figures are okay. They're not great. The Starscream repaint is, I think, my preferred of the two. I like the look of the jet mode, and it just makes me think of Thrust, as I've said. Shockwave's kind of a mess, and not in a good way. There are figures that are kind of a mess that can be fun, but this little figure just isn't really worth the money. So if I had to recommend one, I'd pick up the repaint of Starscream. Now, if you want to get the Shockwave one, I'm not going to stop you at all. Feel free to go ahead and pick it up, but there are issues with it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.